Hey everybody, welcome back to Nerd News Today. This is Matthew, and what you currently are seeing in the ring is something we looked at actually quite some time ago. This is a championship belt, a custom-made championship belt by a guy on Instagram named Wrestling Figure Workshop. We looked at his stuff way back when he first debuted this, and this was one of the first belts he made, and what we're looking at on right now is a retro figure from Hasbro. So this was the classic Winged Eagle belt that he made, and he also included in that same wave tag team championship belts for the same era, along with an Intercontinental Championship. And later on, he would produce championship belts in white, blue, yellow, and purple to basically make the entire spectrum of multicolored belts that were worn in the WWF during that particular era. After all the WWF belts were done, Howie from WFW followed it up with the very first shot of Galoob WCW belts. And here is a Sid Vicious with the World Championship belt. And he also made one of the blue tag belts, which is really cool. And yeah, we've looked at those all in the past, like I mentioned, but today what we were looking at that is really new and exciting is these. We have the next two entries of belts from WFW. Now let's see if we can line these up correctly here. On top, we have the WFW 85 belt, the multi-purpose 85 belt, and below that would be a US Championship belt, which is pretty close looking to that WCW US Championship belt, one of my favorite belt designs that WCW had. So we're going to talk about these two belts today and show how these things look on all sorts of figures. But yeah, let's just first talk about how the packaging is. So Howie is from overseas. He's in the UK, and so these were mailed to me in a really nice padded envelope. With, again, as I mentioned, obviously it's a padded envelope, so it's very well protected in that. They're nice and flat, so shipping is pretty cheap, pretty fast also. This isn't like it has to go through heavy amounts of customs to get through, because it's just an envelope. And each one of these belts has a nice little bag with a WFW sticker. And what's new, or at least new to me, is there's now a collectible warning on the back, which is really cool, which mentions that this is for ages 14 plus, and it's an adult collectible. And it's made in Great Britain, and there you guys can see WFW's website, so make sure you guys check them out after this video. So let's go ahead and open up these belts and try them on a few guys. Let's start with this US Championship belt here, and you can see the really excellent gold on this. Like, I love how gold this all looks and how bright it is, how much it pops out. Just really, really wonderful looking here. And we should also talk about this very nice type of rubber that's used, this excellent bendable, malleable plastic that they use. You know, like, I've never had a problem getting these belts on or off figures. This is the kind of material that I wish, like, Super 7 used when they made their belts, you know, because their belts were very, very nice, but a lot of folks to this day still complain about being able to put the belts back on. I had issues also off camera with that, but this material here is, like, perfect. So, you know, I really did a great job choosing the type of plastics to use for it. And as you guys already saw, these fit on toys very nicely. So who should we put this on? How about a Bret the Hitman Hart? He was a US champion in WCW, so let's try this on with him first. And again, you guys already obviously know that these belts fit just fine on all of the retro era figures and even the modern style retro figures. And yeah, this is no different here. That's how our Bret Hart looks at US Championship. Man, it looks really good actually on it. It's a very, very fitting belt. I think that belt always looks good on whoever's wearing it. It's just such a nice design. But as far as the toy goes, this is really great. And yeah, you can see obviously it's not as detailed as like the one that Mattel just recently put out with that Bret Hart Goldberg 2-pack, in fact. But this really kind of stripped it down to the most important details, and by doing so, it also kind of gives it that retro look. It doesn't need to have every single little nook and cranny on that belt. It just got the important parts that tell you what the belt is, and you can clearly see right away this is a US Championship belt. And that brings us now to our next belt in this new series that's come out. This is what they're calling the WFW TV 85 Championship, and really the selling point about this is how versatile it is, because this can be basically a bunch of different belts at once. This can be the TV title from WCW, this can be a tag team championship belt even, or it can be a Hogan 85 championship belt, because that's basically what it looks like. It kind of just, you know, it doesn't just double, it triples for pretty much any belt you want that's similar to this. And from what I've heard also, if this thing sells well, there's a possibility we might get this in a few other colors, which would be specifically red, because red was a color that I think Dusty Rhodes had, in fact, for a while. So speaking of Hogan, why don't we try it out on the Hulkster himself? So we'll just go ahead and put this on. And that should pretty much be fine. Should have no issues once again putting this on the belt, putting this on the character. And there you go. That's our Hulkster. Let's put Bret back over here too. So there you go. That's how it's going to look on a classic Hasbro figure. But really, one of these is WCW specific, and this one kind of also is like NWA, WCW wrestling. So, you know, let's try these out on some Galoob WCW guys also. So here is our Lex Luger with the US Championship belt. And here is a Scott Steiner with the TV 85 tag team belt, whatever you want to call it, whatever iteration you're going to play with it as. In this case, I'm going to call it the tag team belt. But that's how it looks. Again, it fits just fine on the Galoobs. No problems with that whatsoever, and it's really kind of a big improvement over what we used to get in those Galoob toys, which would have been this monstrosity. This one came with all the Galoob figures, and yeah, that's just hot trash. So that's how our guys are looking with these belts on. Looks wonderful. Yeah, no complaints here. Now, you guys already have seen it with the retro figures, but let's try two other figures, one of which I don't think we looked at before at all on the channel. I think both of them we haven't, but let's find out here. So I'm going to try out our U.S. Championship belt on a Bend-Em figure. I know the Bendies are starting to kind of go up in popularity here. This is an old original Stone Cold Steve Austin Bendy. A little beat up. It's been used, but toys are meant to be used. And there we go. That's how it looks. Fits on him too. In fact, actually, we can tighten up a little bit more. Yeah, you can see here. It's got a lot of rungs, so you can really get it around anybody's waist. And that's fitting very firmly on this Austin figure. See if we can get it to stand up straight. One of the problems with Bendies is that they don't want to stand up straight, but there you go. And for the other belt here, for this 85 belt, I want to try it on a Kara Pro figure. And you can see here, this is kind of way big out of the frame, in fact. But I want to try this on this Jumbo Tsuruta. I want to see if these belts fit on the Kara Pro figures, because I'm a big Kara Pro fan. That was a series we were doing here on this channel for a little while, and I didn't quite keep it up because, you know, I started keeping a lot more of the figures in package. I wasn't sure if there was a following yet. But if you are interested in these Japanese pro wrestling figures, do check out some of my videos on my channel all about them. And this is how Jumbo Tsuruta looks with that belt on. That's looking actually really nice, too. Wow, these belts actually are great on Kara Pros. Oh, man. I did not expect that. I don't think I tried these out, like I said, on any of the Kara Pros before. And now after seeing it on this Jumbo Tsuruta, WFW, yo, you need to start making some Triple Crown belts for me, because I got a lot of Kara Pro figures that need some gold on them. So that's our look at the WFW Wrestling Figure Workshop TV85 Championship belt. Very, very versatile. And fingers crossed it sells well enough that we can make different color versions of that too, in blue and red. It's actually bringing a few other classic guys that we looked at previously, just to kind of get a nice big group shot together. There's our Winged Eagle belt. And let's bring in our Intercontinental Champion as well. Let's see what else we can fit in here. Let's just load up the ring with gold. We'll put our Sid back over here as well. You know, if you haven't been buying any of these belts and you are a retro figure collector, you're really missing out, because these are some really, really excellent additions to any collection out there of belts. Retro figures, like, it's basically filling that void of belts we should have had a long time ago and never gotten around to getting. If you want to check out these belts for yourself, check out Wrestling Figure Workshop on Instagram at wrestling_figure_workshop, or check out his website to buy anything, which you can find at wfworkshop.bigcartel.com. And he also has an eBay page now, so there's a lot of different ways for you to buy it. Keep in mind, he is an international vendor. He is in the UK, so shipping prices may vary, but for the most part, shipping is not going to be that expensive, because nothing he's doing is that real, you know, big. It's all small enough to just ship in padded envelopes, making your life very easy. We're going to swap our Bendy Austin for a Luger again. Let's bring Luger back in there. Let's put our Ric Flair right behind him. So yeah, you guys can see, like I said, variety of figures, different sizes, different scales, but they all look good. They all work very nicely. These are must-have belts. You got to get these belts, folks. If you're buying retro figures, you're collecting these things, there's a lot of gaps in those collections, and this is the way to fill them. So big shout out to WFW for sending me these belts. They're awesome. You guys got to get them. Don't miss out on them. And make sure to support him, because the more you support him, the more chances we get for other different belts. I'm still waiting for ECW belts. I want some more of those for my original San Francisco toy makers. And now that I know that these fit Kara Pro figures, yeah, no, we got to get more of those. So yeah, check out all the sites. We're going to have links for them in the description below. So really, make sure you pick them up. And if you're already a customer of WFW, let me know in the comments. And more importantly, what do you want to see in belt form? So until next time, I'm Matthew. This has been Nerd News Today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.